So here for this first presentation, this is not exactly a tutorial, but I'm making it some sort of wiki rigs. I have made on the past an integrated rig tutorial which includes spline skinning, like you see these bendy bones everywhere, like on the eyelids and eyelashes rig, and also on this what I've been calling eye contour rig. It's the skin surrounding the eye hole, right? But it was not completed in the past because I didn't know what would be the best or some better solution to make some main control bone for all those community of bones that occur around here. But then, thanks to Snow 3D character, you know, from Blender Studio, and of course some research on how it is done, for example, in Rigify add-on, the meta rig, the generated rig, right, for the face. Then eventually I came up with a special solution, which it's not a copy, but it follows the same principle, I guess, but the technique here might be slightly different. I'm not sure if it is equal or not, but it will do the same thing. So what happened here, I had to make several attempts. So all these bones, these are for the eyebrow, so not caring about the eyebrow right now. So I'm gonna hide this. And so this is the contraption, the rig contraption for the spline skinning around these eyes, right? Eye contour rig, right? But currently, yes, I can move some of them, but they are bone constrained. They have all of them have copy transforms, as you can see, but they have some varied influence, and they're targeting different bones. And so what happens here is that I've created a main control bone here, which can control the top ones, and this one can control the bottom ones, but on different degrees of influences. And this would be sort of an attempt to make proportional editing, except for armature stuff, bones, right? And we don't have this thing yet, but it would be very cool. Someone made a proposition in Blender community to have this proportional editing for bones, also armature stuff. But since we don't have this now yet, we have to rely on different approaches. And one approach for that one was, so for example, this one has a copy transforms at 0.2 influence, targeting this one, the 0.10, because they are looping. That's why they are. I don't even know where. I think this is the 0.1, yeah, 0.01, then 0.02, 0.0. This is a bendy bone set sequence that starts here and loops around here. So it doesn't really matter where the started, but this naming is just for making this contraption easier. That's what I've presented on that integrated eyes rig tutorial. Then, so this one is targeting this one, and so as I move this one, well, I cannot move it because it is this one is 100%, that is maximum influence of 1.0 targeting this bone. So it, but so you see, as I move, let's just hide this bone constraint, and so now I can move it. So you see there is a slight influence as I move it. It drags, it pushes this slightly up. Same here, this one is constrained to this one, same copy transforms, but at 0.2 influence. So it's the same amount of influence. This is just to simplify stuff. And so this one also is only dragging this one around. And because it's copy transforms bone constraint and not just copy location, it also copies the rotation. So if I pick these two, of course in this case I would like to have something like that, right? But then instead of having to do this all the time, that's why I've made these two ones, which are more important than each of these side kick ones. Each one of these have 100%, 1.0 influence onto this one. And so when I drag this one, or even if I rotate, everything moves in synchrony in this sort of proportional editing. Of course, sometimes it's not as good as we expect, because sometimes I want more rotation here or there. So, and there is a very interesting thing about this, is this I'm using these spaces here because this is an example of how to use owner orientation, local space with owner orientation. Look what happens if, for example, I've tried everything. I tried with world spaces, but then it's yeah, apparently it works, but then I think it fails at some point if I try to have, well, seems that I'm not sure, maybe it there are other possibilities, but oops, now I have okay, so but then if I put just local space, as I rotate, you see what will happen here. This one has double local space for target and owner. As I need to rotate this one, so okay. Yeah, for the rotation we don't see it very evidently, but as I move, you see this bone goes bottom and these bones go sideways, and this is not interesting. This is because this is respecting its own owner local space, and probably this this direction, this local direction for this bone would be equivalent to this local direction for this. So this is not interesting. I want that as I move this one, this also goes the same direction. So that's why its owner, actually, it will not respect the target's local space, but instead it will respect its own local space. So then now it does everything according to its own stuff, orientations. And so every one of these have the same setup: target local space of another control bone. And so this is an interesting case, because if I had, I can even switch this for all of them. I think that works. Yes, now they all have this thing, and if I attempt to move, yeah, everything gets really chaotic, right? So let's go back and have all this to again something. Oh, of course I have to re-enable this one. Yeah, so now everything is moving in sync again. And if I make changes, something interesting, if I make change to any stuff here on this bone, I can immediately symmetrize it, this change. So for example, let's say I hide this and this. Okay, so now this is not partially working and this is totally working. Then what I do, I pick those two bones, go on edit mode, then I go on armature, symmetrize, and what happens is that now the other side also had, it was already symmetrized originally, but then I resymmetrize to like update, right, each side. And the cool thing is that even though the mirror modifier, it doesn't matter the side you pick the bones to symmetrize, if their symmetrizing naming is correct, I can do from, okay, so these were unhidden, these were hidden, so now I go back here and let's symmetrize to the other side, and now what happens is that everything is back to normal. I don't need to fix for redo everything, I just have to resymmetrize on edit mode for the bones, and this works for any things. And if there are some targets, valid targets for symmetrization at least, these will also be symmetrized instead of like just duplicated, right? Okay, so right side, it will recreate that for the opposite side. Okay, so there are certainly more things I wanted to show here. Okay, so yes, then we could make that this bone for the eyelid here, the bottom eyelid, the middle bottom eyelid, would be like you know, also copy transforms to this, or at least copy location. But I decided not to do it because more freedom. But it could be more practical, right? I just want to make that this kind of expression. Then it can be a good idea. I still have to make up my mind, but let's attempt this. So select this, then let's create that. I think just copy location would be nice. I'm afraid copy rotation for a copy transforms wouldn't be a good idea for the expression of the eyelid, so in this automated way. So at least a copy location. And here of course there is some problem, because now it got exactly at that position and it's locked, so this is very bad. So I need to change this. So let me do the same thing here. It's still, I want it to be free, so now I can do some offset. Then the rest position, is this correct? Yes, because of this offset is a little bizarre, so I'm not sure. Well, at least it's free now, and it doesn't copy the rotation. So let's see. Yeah, so we can do this, and we can do same for this one. So, but this time let's do different. I'm not sure if copy location, if this is appropriate, but apparently it's working. Let's do for the other one, but this time I'll do the copy transforms just for sake of experimenting. And then here same thing. and local space. Let's see now. Okay, but it's locked, so what I can do here is before original, I guess. So now I have this kind of setup, but I'm afraid this will stack transforms to the eyelid that this eyelid that I don't want as I'm posing the because then I have this transform and this transform, so it can be useful, but I think it's a bit risky. I prefer to avoid this kind of thing, and if I want to make it, I just have to pose them like with a multi-selection. Yeah, but this is another cool possibility, right? So one thing that cannot be done, I have tried, was so I already checked for the local space and local space on orientation setup. I have attempted with, for example, I have to delete one by one, with the child of bone constraint, and this is apparently it could work well. I don't know what's that, but doesn't matter right now. So okay, nothing here is working, but these bones are still can move individually, but that will be really bad to be posing around for expressions, right? So we want automation with a main controller bone for this. And I didn't know how to do this properly because this is very complicated motion. There are this deforms the skin, and then you have even now it's not perfect because there are some degree of rotation here that I wanted this bone to have more stronger influence for and also this sad expression. So this is not totally set up yet, but it's at least I have this now. Oh, it's moving the eyebrows, so this I'll show again how I've used this technique here too for the eyebrows, similar technique like for these ones. And so yes, let's try with the child of bone constraint. So I'll remake from scratch here the setup. So pose, then no, it's the opposite. Child off. Okay, let's say it will be a 0.3, why not? Then same here. Child off, bone constraints. That will be, let's say, a little more, just for some variation. So okay, this does not, but this already starts influencing this one as well as this influencing this one. Okay, so everything, well, it's the same thing, right? And then both of these will make them with a child of bone constraint with yeah. So the interesting, well, no, it's not far. Okay, so and then we're gonna copy this. I've made a shortcut, a keyboard shortcut for, oh yeah, okay, it's the opposite for this other operator here, which is the copy constraints. Shift Alt C, I've created this one. I've assigned this one to make this thing easier. So now it's copied, and yeah, it's exactly the same thing. So okay, so apparently that's perfect, right? No, actually this causes some problem, because as I move, I've discovered this by making further testing. So let's not unhide only for this. You see here, as I move something here, these bones, they start to get completely displaced. And of course this probably have to do something specific about child of bone constraint that I'm not sure. it is stacking transforms with everything, with the head or the spine. I'm not exactly sure why, but this strategy doesn't work. While this same thing, you see, the other side is working because the other side has just copy transforms. And so this is not very good. So let's, instead of redoing everything, let's just use the same technique, symmetrize, and here we go. Now I can make these transforms here on these master bones, for the torso bone, for the head bone, and that those. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, this one didn't copy it. I think I forgot to. Okay, so symmetrize, and that's. Oh, maybe I just needed to reset. What's happening here? It is resisting the symmetrization for some reason. Okay, this is something broke here. Yeah, something broke. Oh yeah, I symmetrized the wrong one. Okay, so I have to redo this thing. So okay, it was like this, and this I cannot copy this, then I'll have to change the target if I made this thing, right? So I prefer to use the other operator in this case, the add with targets. It's simpler. So copy transforms, then local space on orientation, local space, and then now I get this one, and let's symmetrize, and then there's something. Why they are something. Well, doesn't matter. I broke the rig. In this case, I don't waste my time here. I would reload, so doesn't matter. Let's continue.